Welcome to Extraordinary Time, a podcast from the Catholic Courier highlighting several very special weeks in the Church's liturgical calendar. Extraordinary Time's second season focuses on Advent 2025, offering scriptural reflections from clergy, religious, and other well-known members of the Diocese of Rochester. Jennings, Knowlton, and Maddle Funeral Home in Penfield is a proud sponsor of this special Extraordinary Time Advent podcast. We have been providing dignified, quality funeral services to area families since 1962. We believe that every life should be honored and celebrated. Our professional staff guides each family with care and compassion through the many decisions that need to be made. For more information, visit us at JenningsKnowltonMaddleFH.com or call 585-381-3900. Here's your host, Gina Capellazzi, digital content producer at the Catholic Courier.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of Extraordinary Time, Advent 2025. Today, December 14th, is the third Sunday of Advent. The Old Testament reading for today is from Isaiah chapter 35, verses 1 to 6a and 10, and the New Testament reading is from the letter of St. James, chapter 5, verses 7 to 10. The Gospel for the third Sunday of Advent is from Matthew chapter 11, verses 2 to 11. For the text of the readings and Gospel, click on the link in the description below this episode. Today's reflection is from Father Michael Merritt. Father Merritt was ordained a diocesan priest in 2017 and currently serves as the parochial vicar at St. Joseph and Holy Spirit churches in Penfield and Webster.
Back when I was a kid, my family, just like pretty much every other Catholic family, had an Advent wreath. And we would always put it out, of course, every Advent season, and with the 4 candles. And it was always nice because we'd light the candles, every night when we had dinner together. And it was always cool seeing the candles, successively lighting each candle as the weeks of Advent went on and seeing more and more light. And knowing, of course, that every time we lit a new candle, we were getting closer and closer to the Christmas celebration. And obviously we know, of course, every candle, the color purple is the color of the Advent season. I understood that. But of course, as many probably wondered when they were younger, as I did, I was wondering, why is one of the candles pink, not purple? Had no idea. And I thought at one point when I was younger, maybe it had something to do with the Immaculate Conception, because I knew that was close to the time, but I never knew what it was. And it wasn't until probably close to the time I got to seminary, that I learned about why the third candle that we light is different colored than the other ones, and why actually that Sunday, the third Sunday of Advent, has a different color than the rest of the time of the season of Advent. Some of you probably know that each week, represented by each candle, each week of Advent has its own theological theme. The first week's theme is hope, which is fitting, of course, for the Advent season, as especially the beginning of Advent, when we're looking and longing for, not so much looking back to the first coming of Christ, but then the next coming of Christ, and kind of preparing our hearts for that season and hoping and longing for the time when we get to meet Christ face to face. The second week of the Advent season's theme is peace. We know, of course, Christ is the Prince of Peace, the one who came to bring peace into this world. And so peace, contentment, calm, it's kind of the words I think of that. And, of course, that is what Christ brings to us. And so fitting, again, that second week of the Advent season. The final week of the Advent season, the fourth Sunday, is marked by love, which, of course, is fitting that is the final week, too, because that is the closest we are in the Advent season to actually celebrating the first coming of Christ, who is love. We know, of course, God is love. And Christ bringing his love and light into the world, forever changing it, is what we celebrate at the end of Advent as we begin the season of Christmas. But it's that third Sunday that's a little different than the others. Of course, as I said, purple is the main color of Advent throughout the entire season, except on that third Sunday. The third Sunday of Advent more or less marks the midway point of the Advent season. Of course, that changes depending on how long Advent is, as Advent's length changes year to year. But it ostensibly marks the midway point. And so instead of purple that Sunday, we wear, not pink, I should say, technically we wear the color rose. It is known as Gaudete Sunday. And the reason it's known as Gaudete Sunday is that is the Latin word that means joy, because the third Sunday of Advent's theological theme is joy. And it hopefully is a reminder for us that even in the middle of this Advent season, which obviously is a beautiful season, but it's not really a celebratory season. It's more of a quieter, contemplative season, somewhat penitential. Not quite as penitential as Lent is, of course, but there's penance as a part of it. But just a preparatory season, anticipatory season, preparing our hearts for Christ's coming. And hopefully it can be a season, in spite of the craziness of the world outside, a time to quiet ourselves and prepare our hearts for Christ. But even in the midst of that, remembering that joy still needs to be a part of it. There can be a temptation in a quieter season, a more softer season, to become a little more somber and a little more kind of off-putting, a little more turned away, a little darker, if you will. We can kind of, unfortunately, allow that to seep into our hearts, seep into kind of our personality. But this Advent season, this Gaudete Sunday, this third Sunday, this Rose Sunday, is a reminder that joy still needs to be a huge part of the season. Always kind of having a smile on our face, joyfully anticipating Christ's coming. Joy, of course, is something we need to have in our hearts throughout our entire life and throughout the entire year, not just on one Sunday of the year. Always a reminder that if we truly consider ourselves to be Christian and truly followers of Christ and accept Christ into our hearts, if people can't recognize joy in our life, then there's a problem. And of course, this joy is different from just simple happiness. I always kind of define happiness as more of a fleeting feeling that can come. Maybe we feel good about something that happened, some experience we had, but then, of course, that feeling goes away, and then we need to search for another high, another happy feeling, another happy moment. Joy is something far deeper. Joy is something that kind of a serenity within us, peace, again, if you will, that is always present in us, despite any good, high, joyful, or any good, high, special, happy feelings, or even the more difficult moments of life, when we're struggling, when things aren't going as well as we would hope they would. Joy is always present, and that's a theological virtue. That's not just a fleeting feeling that comes and goes. But joy needs to be a part of our life, whether it's in the Advent season or, of course, the more celebratory season of Christmas. Same thing with Lent versus Easter and ordinary time as well. Throughout our life, hopefully we always carry that spirit of joy within us. And so when we light that third candle and we come to Mass on that third Sunday of Advent, and if we see the rose-colored instead of the more normal violet color, purple color of the season, hopefully it is a reminder that it's a little brighter, remembering that joy always needs to be a part of our life, that Christ coming into our life, Christ's Spirit within us, hopefully always leads us to have a spirit of joy that we have within us, and joy, of course, that we hopefully go forth and share with our brothers and sisters around us.
Thanks, Father Merritt, for this joyful reflection as we start the third week of Advent. The Catholic Courier offers many more Advent resources online. There's still plenty of time to check out the Catholic Courier's 2025 Advent calendar. This week, the calendar features videos with 2 Catholic schools in the diocese. You'll find the link to the Advent calendar in the description below this episode. And you can still participate in the Catholic Courier's new Advent contest, Saints Around the Diocese. Open the Advent calendar's December 10th window to view a photo of a saint statue. You may have to put the photo together to see the statue. And after you do, can you guess the saint's name and the Diocese of Rochester Church in which the statue is located? You have until Monday, December 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern to submit your answer. Prizes will be offered each week, and participants will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize at the end of Advent. Check the calendar on December 17th for the third saint of our contest. For more information on the contest, check out the link in the description below this episode. Tune in next Sunday, December 21st, for a reflection from a Sister of Mercy.